Now, Labour has won the Blackpool South by-election from the Tories, and yet another blow for Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister.
And one man who's absolutely delighted this morning is Sir Keir Starmer. Of course he is. He's like the cat that's got the cream.
That's how you say it. Not the man that's got the cream, cat that's got the cream.
Here is what the Labour leader had to say. This win in Blackpool South is the most important result today. This is the one contest where voters had the chance to send a message to Rishi Sunak's Conservatives directly, and that message is an overwhelming vote for change.
He went on, the swing towards the Labour Party in Blackpool South is truly historic and shows that we are firmly back in the service of working people. Our new Labour MP, Chris Webb, has shown that after years of neglect with the Tories, there is a better alternative. The message to Rishi Sunak is clear. It's time for change. It's time for a general election.
Well, he would say that, wouldn't he? Well, joining us in the studio is a very smug former Labour MP and Minister of State for Europe, Denis MacShane. I like to call him... Oh, I won't say that. I was going to say Penfold.
You're always so sweet, Nana, so sweet.
Dennis, are you smug about this result?
No, not at all.
Really?
I mean, it's completely predictable. It's on the cards. The polls have been saying it for months. And I'm old enough to live through similar great days for the Tory party, great days for the Labour Party. The only thing that matters now is how Labour will govern. And we won't know that till they're in power. There's no point thumb-sucking. I can read the Daily Telegraph 4 articles a day saying Labour government will be a disaster. That's total drivel. A lot of civil servants, a lot of business, a lot of economic actors know that we need to repair, renew, reform Britain. The way we do it will be incredibly problematic. It won't be easy, but there'll be a lot of goodwill to begin with. But as always in politics, the politicians live or die by the results they produce. And Tony Blair was there in 1997. I think you interviewed, or somebody did come and tell me about my book about that, the diaries of that era. And we kept delivering results for the first few years. Then we hit the buffers of Iraq, war and so on. And the Tories were delivering results until they turned to Boris Johnson and Liz Truss. And we've just had the disastrous recent years.
Well, hang on, Dennis. You said that the Tories were delivering until they turned to Boris. Boris won an 80-seat majority.
I know.
Surely getting rid of Boris was their terminal mistake.
That though, is a false illusion. Blair won a very, very big majority in 2001
well, no,
and again in 2005.
He just said it's a false illusion. He did win an 80-seat
No, he did.
So
but it gives a false hope then that he then opted for the hardest imaginable Brexit, having promised in 2016, after the referendum result, which we all accepted, you'd be able to live, work, travel, businesses would have no problems.
People didn't accept it, though, did they? They repelled against it. Even now, there is a repellent, and people are told, oh, it was a big mistake, you should never have voted Brexit. And there's a big... Even now, I get people, oh, I bet you wish you hadn't done that now. I don't wish anything different. I'm glad I did what I did. I'm annoyed at the way they've done it.
Fine, I accept that. That's called democratic politics. Right. I mean, you have a vote, you elect a government, you're entitled to say after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years that government's not doing very well, we're going to change it. But there seems to be an absolutely rigid idea that even saying, let's see if we can do something different with the Brexit rules Boris has bequeathed us and let our businesses grow, let the London stock market come back to life.
Civil servants have been unhelpful. The civil service, even now, I think they're talking about not doing anything for Rwanda. And, you know, it feels like, although the Conservative government have been in, it does feel like there has been a blight, and that has been the civil service and anybody else.
I mean, with all affection and respect, unlike you, I was there. The civil service will do what the Prime Minister orders.
No, they won't.
They will. What they won't do is what other ministers do, or junior ministers like me, if the Prime Minister's authority and power, which is why the civil service have delivered on this preposterous Rwanda scheme. They know it's illegal. They don't fall foul of the European Court.
But they're still objecting.
Sorry, Nana. It's not up to the civil service to dictate government policy. If ministers and the government are saying, we want to do this, get this done, they should be apolitical.
But of course they have. They've delivered a bill written by parliamentary draftsmen that says the ludicrous fantasy that Rwanda is a safe country. You don't want to repeat the session of a moment ago. Now,
because you're saying it's a ludicrous fantasy. So you are now stepping into the conversation.
Of course I am. That's what I think. That's what I know. I do track these things. I've been tracking Rwanda for a number of years.
Have you been to Rwanda?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to North Korea. I haven't been to other African despotic countries.
We're not using North Korea, are we?
Well,
what is your objection? Why is Rwanda so unsafe in your view?
I'm just reporting what the US government says. It's not exactly a left-wing government. I'm reporting what Amnesty International says. I was in France.
What about the UN who use Rwanda?
UN agencies also say that. Now,
they use Rwanda.
The problem is that we'll have to it'll end up in courts. You and I spluttering about it on either direction. It'll end up in the court and then go to the European Court of Human Rights. I don't think it'll happen under the Sunak government. I mean, any government before the election. If it does, then is Mr Sunak really going to leave?
What's Keir Starmer going to do, though, about it?
That's a very good question. And do you know something? I can't answer this endless question, what will Keir Starmer do? And nobody can. And I doubt if Sir Keir can.
Not even he has told us.
I doubt if he can. And I've made this point endlessly, this endless demand. What will you do about Rwanda? What will you do about Angela Rayner? What will you do about GB News? It's just silly chatter at the moment. And we should just accept the fact that you're going to have this government. Look at all the individual ministers. I know them, some are friends. I think, person for person, they're better than the current guys.
Well, sorry to interrupt there, Dennis, but talking of individual ministers, so Wes Streeting, I actually thought he was quite a decent bloke up until about a few weeks ago. First of all, he got up on the dispatch box commenting on the NatCon conference in Belgium, in Brussels, that had been shut down, laughing away like a juvenile schoolboy with his MPs behind him. It was pathetic. That was bad enough. And then this tweet, I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
Talking about Susan Hall,
yes.
Wes Streeting said, let me just repeat it for anyone who isn't familiar with it. He said, a win for Susan Hall and the Conservatives in the London mayoral election is a win for racists, white supremacists and Islamophobes the world over. What kind of language is that from a government in waiting? Calling people who are concerned about net zero, about knife crime, about teenagers getting knifed to death on our streets, calling them white supremacists. Has he lost his head?
Ben, if you really want me to go through everything Susan Hall has said...
No, I'm talking about Wes Streeting.
They were not...
I don't want to talk about Susan Hall, I'm talking about Wes Streeting.
Well, I'm sorry, you're defending her.
No,
I'm not defending Susan Hall.
Good.
I'm not pro or against Susan Hall, I'm talking about Wes Streeting.
Let's be very clear. You say not pro, that's a very easy position. I have been looking at her. I don't know why the Tories chose her. There are so many other better candidates.
Can you stick with
There's
the
that tweet.
This is the tweet.
I've seen the tweet.
Yeah, but
not to be my words. Not to be my words.
This is a government in waiting. This is one of the potential ministers who'll be in charge of a lot of policy. And he's calling somebody white supremacist.
He will be in charge of the fact that we have a great number of people in this country now, from the Irish community I grew up with, Jews, now Muslims, now people from the Afro-Caribbean countries. We have invited them in. Rishi invited in 654,000 Indians, Pakistanis and Nigerians last year. They have different values, different cultures, and Susan Hall is the most divisive politician.
So you're not going to answer the question. You're not going to answer that, whether you think that's is that a good
I've said it's not words I would have used.
Any of those words, none of it, all of it.
Oh no, I'm
wrong.
sorry. Some of those words. I'm sorry. I tracked Susan Hall.
Are people that vote for Susan Hall white supremacists, Dennis?
No. Is she though a person who's constantly attacked the presence of Muslims in our midst?
Is Susan Hall a white supremacist?
I would say that she comes pretty close.
Oh, Dennis MacShane. Well, at least we got it out of you. She comes pretty close, so that's a sort of a half.
Well, the vote is over now.
But you're actually saying that she comes close to being a white supremacist.
Wait for the votes to be counted on Saturday. Let me say, I've been astonished even yesterday at the hostility to Sadiq Khan, and it's about cars. And it's something Labour has.
We are really running out of time.
It's also, Dennis, about kids dying on our streets, not just about cars. But there we go.
Thank you for being on. Thank you in the West Midlands, which is a 57% increase in crime.